Yeah, okay. Okay.
So what is service? You will see in many places service, right? Service center, service provider. So what is service in general?
Intel
Hello?
providing some solution to the
Yeah.
worker.
So if you take Samsung service center,
Yeah.
so, they will be ready to serve your request. These services are like uh, they will be up and run. They will wait for the customer to raise the service request. Okay. To avail that service, you have to raise the request. Service providers will not come to you. If you want their service, you have to raise a request. So the request will be processed by the service provider and they will serve whatever you requested. Okay. So in a similar way, like we have services in like software also, technology also. Okay. So if you go to your Windows, type services.cs. Yeah, services. This one, desktop services. Okay. So these are all the services. Who install the services? We no need to install specifically. See, if you when you install McAfee, okay. So these are the services it got installed as part of the installation. Okay, when you install SQL Server, yesterday we have seen my SQL Server was not working, so I went to the services and I made few changes. I uh, uh, executed few services. I ran few services, right? So the purpose of these services will be, if you see some are automatically, the startup type for some it will be automatic and for others it will be manual. Okay, if you make it automatic when you uh, start your system, when you um, on your system, so these services will automatically it will run. And if you make it manual, so you have to go there and you have to make start and stop. Okay. One update here, actually it's heavily raining here. Okay, and I'm not sure power may go off at any time. So if
Okay, okay.
power went off, then close the session. Okay,
Yeah, okay, okay.
we hope it will not go, but it's heavily raining. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
So the automatic session services will be up and run when you run the when you start your system. So the manuals will be, you have to go there and you have to manually stop and start. See this remote registry disabled. Some are disabled. That means you have to enable them. Right click and you have to make some properties. You have to, in the properties you have to startup type disable and we have to do like this. Okay. So why we need these services? So if you want to run your classic example was yesterday's only. So if you want to run your SQL Server successfully, so these services will create a platform to run those applications. Okay. So these are called services. That's why the console is called services. So in software, we also we will also use some services. Okay. So by like by behavior of those services, we categorized services into a few categories. Okay, so one category is Windows service. All these are Windows services. All these are Windows services. So Windows services means you will install in some system, and from there only you can use those services. I cannot call this service from this local session manager from internet, because these are Windows services. Likewise, we have web services. Web services means like our web applications, web services will be installed in internet, and you can call them, you can use them on the web only. And also remoting and MSMQ. Okay, so we'll see each and every one of these services. Okay, first we will see web services. What is web service? You have any idea on web service?
Web service. Yeah. Like giving authentication to the personal profile in the web, like a Gmail.
That is website. So web service is a service which deployed in the internet. Okay. So do you have idea on redbus.com? There is a famous site in India, redbus.com.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So redbus.com will be used for registering your tickets. Okay. So if you use redbus.com, you can book a ticket of case nanny. You can book a ticket of like APSRTC, like few vendors XYZ. So how exactly that redbus.com is working? See, case nanny, they have their own database and they have their own URL site to register the tickets. Okay, and SVR, they have their own database and they have their own website to book the tickets. Then, and will redbus have some more like features than these case name and SVR? Actually, whenever you are booking a ticket from redbus.com, it will reflect in the case name database only, right? The ticket will be booked in the case name only, but on behalf of case name in redbus you are booking the ticket. That means these redbus people, they are accessing the database of the case name. So generally we won't give access to database. So instead, the case name people, what they are doing, they created few web services. They created few web services, like which will be used to book the tickets, see the availability, okay, and cancel the ticket, and also variety of actions. So that web service is being used by your redbus.com. The web service is created by Casenani and SVR, and that web service will be used by your redbus.com. And now, whenever you are booking through redbus.com, it's reflecting in the actual databases because you are using their database. So then how exactly this web service works? Because we don't know what the web service of Casenani is, and we don't know what web service of the SVR is, and we don't know even on which technology it built, because they will not give the code. Okay, so, and even suppose if the case name web service might be in Java, okay, and my redbus.com application might be in .NET. Even SVR web service might be in PHP or in some other language or in some other technology, and my application might be in Java or .NET. So here, when you are working with web services, so web service can communicate between, like, it's a platform independent communication. A Java web service can communicate to .NET application. A .NET web service can communicate to Java application. So when you are using web services, it doesn't mind like which technology or which platform you are using. Okay. So how exactly this will work, we will see that. We will see that now. So I will create one web service. How to create a web service? Right click on the same solution. I can add one more project. Right click, new project. So here I will choose web ASP.NET web application. And I will give the name of my web service application. So here web services. Okay, and I will click on OK. Here I can select. Okay, we are in 4.5, right? So 4.5, I don't think so we have web services. So for that, do we have WCF? So in WCF workflow, so WCF service application, flow cloud. I'll cancel it. I'll create. I'll add a new project. Now I'll choose framework 4. Okay. Web services. I'll click on OK. No. No. Remove it. Because these web services, they removed it from framework 4 and 4.2. Okay. They removed means they integrated web services into some another project already exists in the clean solution. Go to this project. Still delete this one. You're understanding, I'm trying to create one more project in the same solution.
Yeah, yes.
Services. So I will go to the framework 3. No, not this one. So I will select the framework 2. Otherwise, I'll do one thing. will select the 4 point. So how to see on which version of the framework this project is using? Go to web, go to applications, project properties, go to applications. Here it is framework 4.5.2. Okay. New project. I will search for 4.5.2. Search for web service. So there is no item. In 4, no item. In 3.5, 2.0. What is this? Service. Yeah, Windows service. 3.5. WCF service. Which version of .NET you are using? This is Windows service. Did you see any web service? Which version of Visual Studio you are using?
2015.
Actually, in 2015 we don't have template. They removed this template.
Okay.
Service. Developer. The file and click new website and the website dialog. The Visual Studio insert template. Click on ASP.NET Web Service. Localize default website. It's not giving right. Open Visual Web Developer. So if I do website, ASP.NET Web Service, it came right. 4.5.2. If I add new website, see there is a ASP.NET Web Service. 3.5 do we have? Yes. 4 do we have? From 4 onwards it was not there, right? WCF service we have. 4.5.1 we don't have. 5.2 also we don't have. So till 4 we have, I guess. Yeah. Not even 4, 3.5 only we have. So ASP.NET Web Service. So I'll browse it. Slash demos, my web sample. Here I'll create so here I'll create one more folder, services. So I think it's better to create in the another solution. Okay, I'll create it in a new solution. So I'll create a new project. File, new website, 3.5. I'll choose ASP.NET Web Service. Browse. T. Personalized demos. Services. I'll click on open. Click on save. So it's creating a web service in the specified location. Okay. So this is your web service solution. Okay. So services, and if you see one default page has been added to your solution, and that extension contains .asmx. That extension contains .asmx. If you want to, if you delete it, you can delete it. Okay. So now I will add one new ASMX. Add new item. So your web service class contains .asmx as extension. Okay. So web service ASMX C#. Okay. I will get registration service. Registration service. I'm creating a registration service. Okay. So in the registration service, this is the ASMX. Okay. So it will have a code behind also. Click on code view, and you can write the methods. You can write the methods. See, this is hello world is the default method it is providing, and see, your web methods will be prefixed by web method. Your methods in your web service will be prefixed by web method. That means if you prefix it with web method, these methods can be called by your client. Okay. So I will define one web method, public data table. So in order to use data table, you have to use using system dot data, using system dot data dot SQL client. Okay. This grid view, you have this data, right? This code, populate country, populate grid code is there, right? So I'll copy this code. I'll copy this code. I'll put it here. Public data table, get registration data. Simply I'm creating an object. So this code we are familiar with this code. Okay. So you can remove this. You can remove this entire thing. Okay. And finally, you can return this data. Return DT. Okay. And prefix it with web method. So what I'm trying to do is I created one web service. Okay. And in that I have one ASMX page. all your web service pages will be containing ASMX as the extension. Okay, now I defined one method, registration data, and which is getting data from database and returning it to the data table, returning the data table. So this is my web service. Just build the solution, so it will be built. Okay, and if you open this service, how to run this service, just run this service Internet Explorer, but in real time you will not run the service like this. Okay, so just when you run this service, it will display all the web methods it supports. See, get registration data. So if you invoke it, see, there is an error generating the document. Okay, why? Just run this. Okay, it's fine. It's returning this huge data. Okay, invalid. There was an error generating the system invalid operation. Right, schema boolean. Okay, let's see. So my web service is ready to call. Okay, open this containing folder. There is a app data, app code. This is the services.cs file. Okay, now I have to call it from my application. I have to call this service from my application, right? So this is service is a service, and this my web is a uh, like client. Okay, I will add a new form. I'll add a new form. So grid using service. I'll create one web form, grid using service.aspx. Okay, nothing I will do. I will just drag and drop the grid view. Toolbox. Under data we have right grid view. I will just drag and drop. Okay. So on page load, I will call a method. I will define one method here. Private void populate grid. So earlier my grid was getting data from database directly, but now it will get data from it will call the web service, and the web service will give the data. Okay. So for that you have to consume the web service. How to consume the web service? Right click on your service, right click on your application, click on add, right click on the references, click on add service reference. Okay, it will ask for advanced. Click on advanced, click on web reference. It will ask whether the web service is in this solution or local machine. The web service is in local machine, right? Click on local machine, but we have to run this. To run that, just add web service in local. So actually this is the directly you can use this to add it. Click on add reference. Put the URL. See, it found out. Okay, it is a registration. You can name registration service. Okay, click on OK. It will create a proxy. Basically, it will create a proxy in your local. Okay, so if you see, this is the proxy registration service dot info. See, okay, so all these things are. So simply you can do registration service. You can create object of registration service. Registration service dot soap client dot obj equal to new
I think the starting registration spelling N is not there.
no, it's fine. Whatever I gave, that is only it is
Mhm.
taking. Actually, the problem is I had to create. I will add it one more time because it's I'm using the framework in different and the application, the service is in different. So that is the main problem. I will add it one more time. Service reference. It will create a web reference. It will create a web reference. Okay. Registration service dot registration service obj equal to new registration service. Okay. So now obj dot get registration data. So it will send the data in a data table format. Data dt equal to, right click on it, click refactorings, Okay, so now if dt dot rows dot dot count greater than 0, then I will assign grid view 1 dot data source equal to dt. Grid view 1 dot data bind. Okay, you are getting what I am trying to do. Exception. So we'll see what is this. I'll create application in the same 3.5. Okay, so because the frameworks are different, so that's why it's not supporting 100%. Okay, so I'll create web service client. So I'll add the existing item. Web service client. We'll try to add reducing service. Okay, here I will add the reference, service reference, advanced, add web reference, so that web reference. Sorry, today I am taking much time. Just I'll add one more time. Right. It's not coming here, right? Whatever object I created, it's not coming here. Registered. Yeah. Register dot registration service obj equal to new registration service. Okay. So now I'll place one grid view here. So data table equal to obj dot get registration data. Okay. If dt dot rows dot count greater than 0, then I will assign gri dot data source equal to dt gri dot data bind. Okay. Let's see. It should execute now. Okay. No. So I think there is some problem with framework. Okay. Let's
Mm.
create one more method instead of this data table because it's a huge data, right?
Okay.
So let's
Yeah.
create one more method. Yeah, you have any questions?
No, 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 no.
Let's create some simple method, whether it's proper data or not. Okay. String call me, or else I'll give interactive and integer. So here in the add I will int I int z, return I plus z. Okay. I will mark it as a web method. Okay. Build this So whenever you change build website, if you have 2010, it will be good because web services. Okay, I think it will work because earlier we are sharing a huge amount of data, so that's why it's a bit problem. Okay, so already you included your web service, right? Right click on the web service wherever you consumed it. Okay, there is a web reference. Right click and update web reference because we added one more method, right? So now I will check why this issue is coming. Okay, then I will fix it. Before that we will see response dot write. Okay, obj dot add 23 comma 34. Let's see. Yeah, see 57. Is it correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll check why this method is not coming. Maybe we have to convert this data table into some format.
Okay.
So then it will work. But if you see here, when you execute this web service,
Uh,
this is happening. How your web service is communicating with other application. Okay, because both are in different technologies. Okay, here it is same, but if you see when you click on add, okay, I will 5 and 7. Okay, so actually your web service, when you call that web service, your request will go in this format. Your request will go in this XML format. By seeing this, you are understanding I is an integer, Z is an integer. Okay, so if you click on invoke, this is the response from your web service. So your application will receive the output or the response from the web service in this format. So XML will play major role in web services. Okay, so that's why we'll call web services as XML web services 2. Okay, so as these web services are like communicating by using XML, that's why like even Java web service can be used by .NET and .NET web service can be used by Java. You have to create this is called proxy. This is called proxy. This is client, right? So this is called proxy here in the web services. This reg is called proxy. So this is in your web application, okay? And your application request will be executed on this proxy, and the proxy will execute that on the actual service. So how it helps you, not only like sharing the data, even web service calls will be faster than. So in previous case, what you have done in this get registration, okay, get registration. So earlier on the form itself, you have you wrote all this code. That means your form is responsible for database, opening the database connection, fetching all the records, okay, and everything. But now what you are doing, you are calling a web service, and web service will It's web service headache to get the data from the database, and it's not your application headache. Now your application will communicate to web service and web service will communicate to database. So if you directly communicate to database, it might be slow, but web services calls will be faster. So like these Google and like even Amazon, they will have when it is a search application, web services will play major role. So when it is search and filter, we will not write queries directly to database. We will use some web services, and that web service is faster than normal calls. Okay, so I will work on this solution. I will try to fix this issue, and you can create your web service samples. You can work and you can let me know if you have any question. Hello?
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, is that fine?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, I will meet tomorrow.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Thank you.